The storage and moving company U-Haul made a New Year's resolution to stop hiring smokers.
The policy just went into effect in 21 states. Colorado's not one of them. But this move really did ignite the debate around what employers can and cannot discriminate against.
And if it's fair to refuse to hire a person based on what they do legally on their own time. Contact 7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski takes an in-depth look in tonight's 360 report.
So this one is a rapid test.
Test positive for a whole list of drugs: marijuana, cocaine, amphetamines,
Opiates, PCP, benzodiazepines.
and you'll quickly find yourself on the do not hire list.
If we are missing a line, then it's going to say that it's positive.
But what happens when an employer adds nicotine, a legal, addictive substance, to that testing list?
The moving and storage company plans to stop hiring smokers and nicotine users.
U-Haul's move this month got plenty of attention. The company says it's an effort to empower a healthy workforce. But nicotine-free hiring policies aren't new.
Hi, welcome aboard.
Alaska Airlines touts one of the oldest.
At Alaska Airlines, our people go out of their way to show you they're only human.
Since the 1980s, the airline has refused to hire smokers, arguing flying in smoke breaks don't jive. These policies are even more common among high-profile hospitals, like the Cleveland Clinic.
If you're a doctor and smoke, we don't hire you.
Highly protective of their healthy image.
We think that smoking is the #1 preventable cause of cancer.
But critics question if it's fair or legal to discriminate against nicotine users. And here's where we need a 360 view to clear the air. From a Colorado hospital giant changing the script, to a workplace expert on the legality of it all, a former smoker and manager, and an employee of a major Colorado company doing the drug testing.
We had it in place for almost 8 years.
Let's begin with one of Colorado's largest healthcare providers.
It was health purposes, but also at the time we thought that it would have impact on our claims costs.
Centura Health made waves when it started testing for nicotine back in 2014.
Well, no tobacco users. That's the message from Centura Health.
But as of this year, head of HR Amy King says the hospital had a change of heart.
We recently changed our policy.
Instead of job candidates who test positive for nicotine being rejected, King says they'll be given optional resources to quit and can now be hired.
Our hope is that if you do join our team, we stand ready to help you quit.
And contrary to popular belief, Centura Health says not hiring nicotine users didn't lower its health insurance costs, often the #1 driver for companies considering these policies.
We took a look at, for 8 years, that the claims costs from an employer-sponsored health plan actually weren't impacted.
Centura staff still can't smoke or vape on the job. They also can't show up to work smelling like smoke.
The community that we serve aren't impacted by someone's choice to smoke.
It's a major consideration for employers.
Which brings us to our workplace expert. Kevin O'Brien is a business law professor at the University of Denver.
We have one of the most powerful laws in the nation for workplace protection.
Colorado's law says employers can't fire an employee for what they do legally outside work. But there's a catch. It says nothing about hiring.
You can be discriminated for legal activities outside of work before you're hired.
A loophole in the law that paved the way for nicotine-free hiring policies. O'Brien argues it could have a domino effect. And what's to stop employers from discriminating against candidates who are obese or addicted to caffeine?
It is a slippery slope, and alcohol is a great example.
Stephen Morgan makes signs for a living in Aurora. He knows firsthand the power of nicotine.
Quitting smoking is probably, in my mind, the hardest thing I ever did.
Morgan's been smoke-free for 2 years now, but as a manager with plenty of nicotine users.
Smoke cigarettes, or they smoke a Juul, or they do both.
He thinks smokers or vapors should be able to do whatever they want on their own time.
I'd love for my guys to quit smoking and feel better, but I'm not going to tell them they can't smoke because that's their choice.
Back to Concentra Labs, that Colorado company doing the drug testing.
No matter how many drugs they're testing for.
Samantha Sleeper runs operations at this Denver clinic. She says, so far, few companies are asking for nicotine testing.
There's been one in about a year.
As for her personal take, she supports the idea of companies offering candidates help to quit, but isn't sold on companies having a blanket no smokers policy.
I would be concerned if they were testing me for nicotine. I'm like, why? If I smoked.
The why comes down to the rising cost of employer-provided health insurance. But at what point does it cross a line? That's for you to decide. I'm Contact 7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski.
A lot to think about there. And if we missed your perspective in this report, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us or write to us on the Denver 7 Facebook and Twitter pages, and we read every single comment.